All right. Well, let me start with the beginnings of the Pritchard Committee to provide some historical context to what we're doing today. The committee was started by a group of citizens, a group of Kentuckians who came together as part of a Blue Ribbon Commission on higher education in Kentucky's future. Together, they produced a report with findings about how to improve Kentucky's future through higher education. It was lauded by the media and then put on a shelf to gather dust. So the members of the Blue Ribbon Commission decided to formalize themselves as a nonprofit named after the chair of the Blue Ribbon Commission, who was Ed Pritchard. So in 1983, the Pritchard Committee for Academic Excellence was born. Members of the committee turned their attention to K-12 education because through their study of higher education, they learned that Kentucky was at the bottom of most of the national rankings for just about every indicator you could imagine: health, economics, education, and they knew that improving K-12 education was the way to improve most of the other outcomes. At the same time, nationally, a report called A Nation at Risk came out, pointing to the United States failing in education and the importance of improvement if we were going to continue to grow as a nation. So in 1983, the members of the committee took calligraphy poster boards out, and we still have them here in the office. We didn't have PowerPoint then, there weren't Excel spreadsheets, but we could look up the data, and calligraphy poster boards designed, I'm sure, on the floor of someone's living room were the way we got information out in those days. And so committee members went out to PTA meetings, Rotary Club meetings, church basements, anywhere they could find a gathering of folks, and helped people understand how far behind we were as a state and galvanized a commitment to do better. So fast forward to 1990, the committee had built the groundswell, if you will, of citizen commitment to improving education outcomes and support for the passage of the Kentucky Education Reform Act, which passed in 1990. So the committee followed the implementation of that act to ensure that it resulted in the improvement that was intended. And part of that was designing and launching the Commonwealth Institute for Parent Leadership, which was started in 1997, with the objective being, if we were going to ensure the Reform Act really took root and resulted in improvement for young people and communities, we needed an army of parent leaders who deeply understood the data in their own community, understood the system of education in the state, and what they should ask for as parents and as communities. And so the Commonwealth Institute for Parent Leadership was born in 1997 as part of the organization's commitment to realizing the path to a larger life, which was Ed Pritchard's way of describing our work. Today, I use that path to a larger life with education at the core as the way that I talk about the work. Over the years, as I've described, the committee started as a group of mobilized Kentuckians intent on improving the state and bringing as many Kentuckians along with them as they possibly could. Today, we're 41 years old. And while we have gone through phases of really focusing on policy in Frankfurt to focusing on community engagement, today we are increasingly focused on getting back to those roots of mobilizing Kentuckians all across the state for hyper-local responses to the unique needs of students and families locally. While policy in Frankfurt will always be important and continues to be important, we know that the first line of response has to be in local communities, and that local communities with their school districts are innovating in ways that are resulting in immediate and positive impact. And we want to elevate and amplify that work, equip each of you to do that work at a deep level. And so we're designing resources and supports and bringing folks together through what we now call the Groundswell Initiative to be part of the continued movement of the Pritchard Committee in the march toward improved outcomes and improved strength of our state. Here's a quick look at the committee's history through the lens of today.